We are live. Welcome to my thoughts on The Bear, Season 4, Episode 5, Replicants. So, let's see if this one might actually end up being chronological. Yeah, a couple things about the opening scene. I really admire the show's ability to take something that so easily, like in lesser hands, could end up just not working at all. Because, like, Carmi is there. So there is some connection to the rest of the show there. And clearly, like, him attending these meetings is helping him be more calm and accepting. He, in recent episodes, he's really been more willing to accept certain things have to change. And a big part of it, there's multiple parts that really make this work. The writing, the direction, and the acting. Like, phenomenal performance by this young woman. Because, like, the story itself, it manages that really delicate balance that a lot of things on the show does, where some of the time it's dramatic, some of the time it's funny. Like, there's parts of the story where you can't help but laugh, you know? Yeah, this woman, she loves her brother. She wants to double homicide him and then love him some more. And, she keeps saying, I told him no mischief, and he said no mischief. See, that was actually your mistake. You should have specified also no shenanigans, because what you describe as having happened, that is technically shenanigans. But yeah, I did seriously think the story was going to end with, oh, and he killed the plants too. But apparently he fucked up everything else than the plants. But yeah, she comes back after 3 days. So the couch, that's one thing I really appreciate. We don't see it, but she paints a picture. Like, we get a sense of what it's like to walk into her place, after. So yeah. You find yourself, like, seeing pictures, aren't you? And if it was at the start of the episode's about 30 minutes or something, maybe a little more, and I am still trying to figure out, how did it fit 4 people, naked or otherwise, asleep? Like, I can see how you could maybe fit them in, like, a... No, yeah, that's kind of impressive. 4 naked people on one fucking couch. And before you say, oh, watch language, well, they're naked, they're asleep. I do believe that we can imagine what happened before they fell asleep. What happened to make them so tired whilst they were naked that they fell asleep. It is, I'm sorry, the law states, it's very clear on this. That is now a fucking couch. It is not a sofa, it's a sexfa. It's not a couch, it's a cooch. And yeah, I like the thing about, he starts singing this song, which then plays later. And apparently has, one of the lyrics is like, you speak and I hear violence. Like, sheesh. Oh, violins, right. Does that make more sense? I'm not sure. Yeah, just fantastic job on the opening. I think I've spent more than enough time talking about it. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, enjoyed seeing Chester, sell the place, Marcus's mom's place, and him trying to, oh, so it's a very hip neighborhood. There's some white kids in baggy pants moving in, which, no, I mean, it might be good. Just, yeah. And let's see. yeah, I really liked how he talks to Marcus about perspective, and it's understandable that right now Marcus is down because this was his mom's house. He's probably got a lot of memories, and some of them are bound to be good. He watched RoboCop. Um, but yeah, Chester, I think I'm not one of those people who say, oh, that's the only thing, but it is important to keep perspective in your life. And, sometimes you can have things that hypothetically should make you happy, but because of perspective, it might also be other things. It might not at all be perspective, but anyway, sometimes perspective, yeah, Marcus is like, oh, I mean, someone got divorced or is moving, yeah, these various things, that went wrong, and Chester points out, no, it could be something good as well. Um, like, financial security was one of them. I think that might just about cover that bit. Right, shit. I meant to put this at the start of the video. Make sure you check out, Noah Samson's been doing some really great videos on Palestine. Talking about how, yeah, the genocide is, yeah. And we have to know as much about it as possible. It's extremely important work he's doing. I admire him a lot. And I'm not just saying it because Cabernacle did. I think that does bring us. Let's see what was the next thing. I guess maybe them waking up and yeah, Richie being frustrated about the bear. In this case, the bear for his daughter, not the bear. Does that sound like I'm talking about a naked grizzly? What would that even look like? Like shaved, I guess. But I think that might just about, yeah. Sid looking for the cleaver, and now by the end of the episode she's thinking that was the last thing I said. I mean, she did say, yes, I love you too. So that's not nothing, but she's talking to him about the fucking cleaver, the utensil. And she hasn't, she keeps ignoring his calls and all this stuff, so now feels bad. Sorry, feels badly. No, it's bad. Who the fuck taught me grammar? Do I reference that movie too much? It's just so fun. Such great dialogue. Anyway, yeah, I think that does bring us to, let's see. Yeah, good stuff with Albert. Him meeting the various ones and everyone having a different reaction. I like the thing with, you look like an asshole I used to know. What's his name? Albert? Are you an asshole? Depends on the day. Yeah, that's actually true. It's, those days that end in the word day? On those, he's an asshole. But yeah, and he and Ibrahim talk, and he tries to reassure Ibrahim, and then we get that thing. I hope they don't overuse it. So far, I don't think they have, because I really find it funny when on this show. Sometimes they'll just have a character like just kind of get in a weird rut and start saying things that don't really make sense. Like, in an earlier episode, we had Carmi saying, well, 6 is less than 10, not understanding Sid's metaphor, even though it was well crafted. It was, and here, yeah, like, he's, like, just repeating slogans, and then he starts naming stores. Yeah, that was pretty, Ibrahim does, to Albert. And then we have the, I think that brings us to, I guess, Richie and Jessica. That was also great. I'm glad that Richie understands the thing about the driving, because I sure as fuck don't. Maybe they'll explain it in detail later, or maybe it won't be important. I don't know. I agree with her. He is he alive? He looks like he's about to let out a blood-curdling fuck. And what's the other thing? We have the yeah. I quite appreciated her empathy about the bear situation, the stuffed bear. not the edible place bear. That makes it sound like you eat the restaurant. I think I need sleep. But the, let's see, then we have, I think that brings us, yeah, we still don't know what the fuck's in the updated, agreement that was set up at the end of, not this episode, not the one before that. And now, it looks like this, Carm's about to explain it, and then, they get interrupted, and then he can't explain it because she needs to go to hospital, and yeah. But, I did really appreciate, he agrees, was it like, repeats, use the same dishes, just stop changing the menu constantly, and yeah, the thing, I'm not great with consistency. She's like, you sure as fuck aren't. But then neither am I. Yeah, I like this. Oh, there's a baby, and then everyone just congrates. That was fun. Oh right, Sid. It's right. Fuck, Luca. That was great. I'm so glad that he's back. Yeah. I gotta see him in more. I've really liked him in what I've seen him in so far. Anyway, let's see. Yeah, we have the Mark is, he's like, I brought you some firepower, and Luca shows up, and Mark is like, I thought you were gonna get me help. Wow. And you think you can keep up? Fuck you too, chef. And the dessert, which even it did look like a bowl, but it's apparently also edible. Marcus, I appreciate the ingenuity. You realize you're gonna have to tell every patron that, right? Like, or maybe there needs to be like an instruction manual to come with the fucking dessert. But no, that is really cool. Yeah, right. I also like Tina and the thing with you're gonna kiss my ass, which you should, but not in this case. You got to tell me if it's good or not. And he's like, it sucks. That was pretty funny. I always really like when he's on. Sometimes I really miss Dexter. Maybe at some point I will watch the more recent. Anyway, I watched the original 8 seasons. Anyway, what was the other thing? The other thing was Sid and Luca, and the thing with they can't actually, or was that when it came up about a Ford? Yeah, I think at some point in the episode at least. But yeah, that was, and also that's really nice of him to, accept less pay. And the thing with, oh wow, it's fully 2 syllables when you say it, and then he puts on a Chicago accent, and she's like, okay, you know what? I think I like you better British. Never thought I'd say it. Right. Also, Albert, you got to work on counting. There's the thing about I'm gonna give you 2 words, and then he says 3, and Ibrahim's like, that's 3 words. It's 2 words, Larry. And I think, that is also, oh my god, if Ibrahim actually does expand, that's, Jesus Christ. I hope he talks it over with Carmi first. But yeah, so yeah, Sid comes in, and the baby, everyone comes to see it, and the I don't know who you are. Oh, I'm Luca. And the let's see, we have the thing with she's like, would anyone like to hold the baby whose name isn't Fack? If nobody in here whose name isn't Fack would like to hold the baby, I'm gonna go outside, find a complete stranger, make sure their name isn't Fack, and have them hold the baby. And Marcus, it is very cute. And the thing with don't swear in front of the baby, or do, I don't even care anymore. And the thing with don't shit talk me through the baby, I'll shit talk you to your face. And let's see, as soon as Sugar's out of the room, the facts are like, Sugar said we could hold the baby. That's a lie. Are you calling us up? We don't lie. Facts don't lie. Facts don't care about feelings. And yeah, Nat goes, and you are, I'm Jessica. I work here now. Mm-hmm. Richie, stop fucking hiring people. I did. And, in come the other two that, he also hired. It's like, so, should we call you Sugar? Natalie's just fine. That was, yeah, don't get too familiar. This is gonna, yeah. That might just about cover. I think that does get us to the end of the, yeah. So, yeah, Carm, wants to tell Sid about the updated agreement. He thinks this is going to be, he's going to be better for everyone or something like that. And, yeah, Sid receives the call, and now of course feels terrible that she didn't answer earlier, but that's yeah, who answers a call, a phone number that they've never seen in their life? That's, yeah. Even if it doesn't pop up as, fuck, what's that called in English, presumed spam. I only, my phone says in Danish, but yeah. Fantastic acting again. Like, I love the characters and actors on this show. Every single character, as soon as they pop up, I'm like, they, Norm, but insert their name. For this episode, it was especially Jessica, Luca, and Chester. Those were ones where I was, yeah. Maybe also because they're not in like every episode, but they're great characters. But yeah. Ayo Edebiri does fantastic on the phone call. This is one of those cases, like, if we find out shortly after the phone call what was said on the other end, but we don't hear it, so it really is just her face that has to convey this. Because, like, as soon as we hear what it is, we have to believe that what we just saw was the reaction, the organic reaction of her receiving this. And sometimes when they film things like this, there's not even anyone on the other end. She's reacting to nothing, and just, yeah, fantastic job. Not entirely sure what the episode's called, Replicants, other than the fact that it's what Richie says. That sometimes he calls people that, but yeah. But yeah, genuinely, she finds out her dad had a heart attack, and that's the thing, like, now it's like, should I have, she's thinking, should I have checked on him? Because she's like, oh, you sound bad, and then he's like, no, it's okay, is he going too far with the self-sacrifice that parents sometimes do? And, like, yeah. And as soon as she, like, yeah, she's like, I don't know what to do. Because, like, she feels like, can the bear run without her? And then Harmy says, no, I'll go with you. And then she's like, I cannot take both of us away from the bear right now. I'll get there myself, and yeah, just really, really powerful. I don't know if they are leaning a little too heavily in recently on the show with, like, these big events. I mean, on the other hand, like, let's see. The last episode didn't really end on a, although no, yeah, there was implication of, maybe she'll join Shapiro. So there's important plot progression, but it's not like one of the, like, Emmanuel having a heart attack was not, like, expected. It was not on the bingo card. Let's see, before that we had Carmi talking to Claire. Yeah, I don't know, maybe it's not, maybe there's enough distance between them. I hope they manage to keep that up. I read a few days ago they are definitely doing a season 5, so you gotta be careful. Don't flanderize, don't let it become melodrama. Like, I forget who, but I saw someone point out, I think it was season two's ending that was technically really melodramatic. Like, it felt like the season finale of a soap opera. And that was that was a season and a half ago. So yeah. Anyway, but yeah, genuinely really nice of Carmi to offer to go with. Yeah, I think that covers everything in the episode. Just yeah, fantastic stuff. Continue to really love these. Did I forget to mention at the start of this episode about spoil? Shit, I hope not. Yeah, I think that does cover everything. Yeah. Another thing, I hope they don't like overdo, the dead parents thing, because Marcus recently lost his mom. They even brought that up in this episode, so yeah. But I mean, him having had a heart attack does not mean that he is dead. He might recover. People do come back from that, sometimes needing, care. But I hope that's what they do instead of, yeah. I think that might just about cover. Right, cool montage, bro. At the very early in the episode, Carmi going to places and just, I mean, basically for inspiration. I think that was good, and also great cut from Sweeps thinking about wine. And that he's like got the batter practice thing, and then it looks like we're gonna follow the ball, going to, or yeah, I think we start following the ball headed towards Sweeps. Then we go in on Richie with the camera at high speed, and yeah, I mean, he looks like panic attack imminent. That was also great when he's talking to Jessica, and the thing about oh, I've got a speech for you, and she's like, shoot, Jessica, I know you weren't there for that, but be careful about saying shoot to Richie, because I want to say it was the pilot episode. He actually did do that with a gun.